I went to a little kid's birthday party and completely broke down crying. I was late to my third job struggling to make my rent, but on the way to my shift, my phone started vibrating. It was a number I definitely did not recognize, but something made me press the green button. I said, hello, but didn't hear anything back. All I could hear was someone crying on the other end. Deep, broken sobs from a man's voice. He said through a thick accent, you are blood donor, yes? Please, I beg you. My heart started racing as I pulled over, trying to understand his words through the crying. My son, he is 4 years old. He is dying. The doctors say tonight, you are only blood donor left. I couldn't tell if this was a scam, but his voice sounded desperate. Please, I am father. I am begging you. I looked at the clock on my dashboard. If I went to the hospital now, I'd miss my shift. But this man's voice, it sounded real. Which hospital? I signed up for blood donation years ago, but didn't think they'd ever actually call. When I got to that children's hospital and told them my name, a nurse was already waiting. She grabbed my arm and pulled me down the hall, clearly panicked. We need to move quickly. Take your shirt off. I was literally running through the hospital with my shirt off, and as soon as we got to that room, she prepped my arm. She explained that the boy was in a horrible accident and had a really bad blood infection. She basically yanked the cord into my arm trying to get the blood out while whispering a prayer for this little boy. His father's been here for 18 hours straight, calling every donor on our list. Nobody else came. You're at the bottom of it. That boy likely won't make it, but you're his last hope. I still didn't really understand what was going on, but then the father appeared in the doorway as my blood started flowing into the collection bag. He looked destroyed, wiping away his tears and sweat. You came, he whispered, like he couldn't believe it. You actually came. He had been calling people for hours, but nobody wanted to come down to donate for him. Oh, thank you, sir. You are so kind. Thank you. He was completely bawling, thanking me over and over, and I just told him I was happy to help. He was literally breaking down, so I just touched his shoulder and asked where he was from, and his words broke my heart. He was lucky enough to escape the war in his home country with his son, but since they just barely made it out alive, they were the only two left in their entire family. He didn't have anybody else and kept thanking me over and over for my kindness. I could hear people from the operation room panicking, urgently waiting for my blood, and on the way out, I saw the boy. I said a prayer for him too, because my mom had died of the exact same thing, and she was the last person I had. I didn't want the father to go through what I did, but on the way out, the nurse told me his father was so exhausted from working, he fell asleep while driving his son home from school. They took him to the hospital, and as soon as they checked him out, they found he had a very bad blood infection. They literally had no idea, and he would have died if he wasn't in that accident. But I felt myself tear up when he broke the news that he probably wasn't going to live long enough for my blood to save him. I lost my job that night, but if there was any chance it could save that kid, it was worth it. However, when I got another call from the same number, I thought something bad must have happened. But as soon as I answered, I heard the man again. He was happier this time, almost unrecognizable. Hello, my friend. I instantly felt a smile on my face. Hello? He sounded like he was trying to force a smile. Apparently he was calling to invite me to his birthday party. He told me him and his son really wanted me to come because they didn't have any other family left. I walked into their small apartment the next day carrying a wrapped toy dinosaur I'd found at a thrift store, and as soon as his son saw me, he lit up with the biggest smile I've ever seen. He was still in bed, but he looked healthier and was starting to grow his hair back. He didn't know English, but when I went over to give him his gift, he barely managed to say, "You're my hero." Both of them hugged me, telling me they now think of me as family because my blood saved his life. They weren't alone because of me. I completely broke down on the spot.